Last week, we had an incredible time at South by Southwest, aka South by, I'm learning, where the festival was packed with amazing events. We were lucky enough to sit down with soccer superstar Megan Rapinoe, an absolute icon both on and off the soccer field. As a member of the U.S. women's national team, Megan has helped lead the team to numerous victories, including 2 World Cup titles and an Olympic gold medal. So without further ado, here's our conversation with the one, the only Megan Rapinoe, recorded live at South by Southwest.
Thank you. Well, we appreciate everybody being here. We were just on stage last week in Boston.
Yeah. We're on tour together.
Yes, yeah. We're on tour.
Pretty much.
And so I'm Iguodala, my main man, Evan Turner. We are Point Forward. Today we are live from South by Southwest. And
hey, y'all.
Thank you. Today our guest, I don't even know if I even have to introduce this special talent, special human being, and a new term we've coined for ourselves, genius.
Yeah.
Genius.
We're just going to call ourselves geniuses.
Yes.
Now.
And
feel free to join in.
Just at the forefront of, and I hate that I have to keep saying that, at the forefront, because we've had so many historically women who have just changed the landscape of, equality and what we should be doing as a society and supporting, all those who are making a difference, who are influencing. She's from Redding, California, spent some time in Portland through her collegiate career, only played 2 years of college, but has weathered through many, many storms. Gold medalist, 6-time CONCACAF. Did I say that right, Evan?
CONCACAF.
CONCACAF.
Yes.
It rolls off the tongue.
It rolls off the tongue. Yes.
CONCACAF.
Two-time World Cup gold medalist, and the gold ball, the golden boot. It's so many awards.
So much going on.
Like in our world, it's just like, all right, you got the championship. That's it. And MVP.
MVP, that's it.
Yeah. But you seem to have conquered it all. Welcome, Megan Rapinoe.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
Who was that?
She had a USA flag, USA
there we
star.
go.
So we got to
Shout out.
Nice.
This is the Austin chapter of the Outlaws over there.
Yes.
So Megan, you're well, you come well, accomplished, and you're a big figure in life. And I want to know, when did you become Megan Rapinoe? And not the little stuff where they tell you play nice, be this, be that, but the outspoken trailblazer that you are today. And when did you know? There's different levels of crossing over and being like, maybe that's wrong, this is right. But when did you know?
Oh gosh, I don't really know. I mean, part of me is like, probably when I was 5 and, just like being a little joker in front of my family and, watching the 90s Bulls play and, wanting to be Michael Jordan pretty much. I feel like that's where I learned how to be an entertainer in sports, is watching those teams. So a little bit from then. I think really in college, coming out in college, first of all, I was like, oh my God, why didn't anybody tell me? This is really obvious. I'm obviously gay. What the hell? Just wasted all of my high school, like pretending like Josh was gonna be my boyfriend. It's like, what a scene. But I think like coming out, kind of starting to connect those sort of dots, that was around Prop 8 in California. A few years later, obviously marriage equality, and just sort of like understanding, there's like things in the country that other people can do and I can't do. My older brother, Brian, he's 5 years older than my sister Rachel and I. We're twins and we're the youngest. He has struggled with addiction, and he's been he's been incarcerated, and so he's had just the terrible experience that is the criminal justice system. And kind of for me, I think sort of mid-20s starting to pull together like how racism plays in that, how our sort of like laws around addiction and just our care and the way we talk about it, me being gay. I was like, okay, I'm starting to connect these sort of like dots of inequality. And I was just like, well, this is fucked up. Like, who designed it like this? We know who, but yeah.
That one guy.
No shame, but we know who. This is all, and it does make sense. So I think sort of peeling back those layers, and then really like, I think in terms of getting into really a lot more of the intersection of racial justice, it was Trayvon Martin, Michael Brown, those murders and subsequent protests, and that really, I think that was kind of like the big mind exploder for me of like, okay, I feel like I understand what's happening. And then I'm like, okay, I'm an athlete also on this, national team. I get to represent America all the time. And we started to use that platform as that platform grew. And I think that, the sort of convergence of all of that. And then coming back from the 2019 World Cup, everything was different. I was like, is there someone following me in New York? Like, is that car following my car? The hell is going on? Obviously, the former heavily indicted president taking time out of his super busy presidential schedule to try to rain down some fake fury on us. And that was kind of, now I'm here.
I think you just...
Yeah. That's my life history.
No, because it went, where you went, how you finished, it went back to how you started, being 5 years old, being funny and just outgoing. Yeah. Have you ever been able to date, have you been able to sit back and really think about all you've accomplished and who you are, your personality, like how your foundation was built and how that's played a role? And, we speak about Dragan Petrovic, and he passed tragically early while he was still in NBA. There's a video.
The Warriors coach that just passed?
No. This was
Dragan. He's like he played for New Jersey Nets. Remember the Once Brothers documentary? They were going up against MJ. This was supposed to be the Michael Jordan of Europe.
He was Michael Jordan of Europe,
gotcha,
and he passed in a car accident while he was in NBA. And during his funeral, his mother spoke and said, "I wasn't given the opportunity to spend as much time with my son as I would have liked when he was in his prime of fame." But she said, "I understood that God put him on earth for everyone to experience and for everyone to be influenced by him. And he was put on earth for the world to see and to understand." And when I see special athletes, we spoke about Steph Curry, certain athletes, we say, you were put on earth for us. Have you ever been able to just sit back and understand like why you were put here and just your makeup? Because like we speak about confidence, like you're very confident in how you speak. You said it, the confidence, the swagger, and the bravado, and you've been able to back it up. Your accomplishments speak
that's the key.
to that, right?
It doesn't really work if you don't back it up. It just gets weird.
Right.
It's weird real quick.
But have you been able to reflect on like I was put here for a reason, like I was put here to do exactly what I'm doing?
Yeah, I think I really have. I'm not a religious person at all, so I don't really look at it from that context, but I always think about it in the sense that we just have this, this one life. You have this one period of time, and it's such a short period of time in the sort of grand scheme of things, but we really, hopefully get to be here for a very long time. And like, insofar as we're gonna be here, I'm gonna do what I can to, it sounds cheesy to just say make the world a better place, but that's kind of what it boils down to. And I think the way I've always looked at my career and my playing is like, this is just the talent that I was born with. And of course you gotta work hard, you guys know, you gotta work hard, you gotta do all the things, but like, I was busting ass at 5 years old because of course I'm going to be a professional athlete. This is part of what I was put here to do. And I think sports is not the reason I'm here. It's the vehicle for my reason. So that gave me the platform and the ability to then really talk about stuff that, matters to me or that matters to other people, or we can leverage the platform and, to see the way that sports in general is able to speak to almost every single slice of life, I think is really special. There's something so authentic and beautiful and relatable about sports. Everyone's literally just out there trying their very hardest, and you're doing it in this collective way. And there's something really, I think, inspiring about that. And I think specifically in women's sports, for us to be able to leverage the growing platform that we have to continue to talk about equality and to continue to talk about the things we care about, like, to me, I feel like that's the point of my life, to, enjoy it as it comes, because being an athlete is incredible. Like, I've never even had a job. I've never had another job. And I guess I have a little bit more of a job now that I'm not playing, but like, I'll never have to have a job because of sports and because of what I was able to do. But I think the work that you're able to do, as you guys know, leveraging it to do other things and to be creative and to have sports just be one part of you, but not the whole part. That's kind of how I always look at it, and just using this gift and this talent that I have to make the world a better place, because we're all in this together, and you only get one life, and it's, the grand scheme, it's going to just be a speck.
Well, you mentioned that point, and many have been given a talent, they've been given a gift. Many have been called, but few have been able to answer a call. Even when you do little things, when you stepped up and took the kneel. A lot of times when in a sports world, when it's coming down to your livelihood and you being controlled by the big company, you took a couple of lickings for that. How were you able to, be able to battle through and still remain courageous? Because at that point, you didn't get invited back to Team USA training and things like that, especially during a market where you're not making the most money and everything, and your livelihood. How was that to really step up and, kind of be the black sheep, quote unquote? Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think some of it, to be honest, is just my nature. I think that I have, again, I don't really believe in God, but God gave me thick skin and a really good dark sense of humor and the ability to have things kind of roll off. So I feel like that is one of my talents, I think, and something that, I have from childhood. And I think too, very early on, I think, again, going back to like coming out, first being on the national team and starting to understand our CBA negotiations and what CBA even means, and how it actually plays out, and being a part of those bargainings, I was like, oh, none of this is designed for me anyways. Like, none of this was designed for gay people in mind or women in mind or, this team. And so I think very quickly I was like, well, I could either, try to fit into this invisible, impossible box, no thanks, or like, I'm just gonna do whatever I want. And I always had the chip because I was an athlete. So I was like, well, I know I'm coming back, and I know I'm gonna be able to play the way that I'm gonna play, and I know you can't have me off the field. So therefore, I'm gonna just do what I want, right? And they're like, yeah, I guess so. But I always leveraged that. I feel like I leveraged my talent to be able to then do maybe some of more of these like risky things. And not to say that I never paid a price, but I think I realized kind of early on, the more mad people were, the more to the center and dead on I was about what I was doing. And I think kneeling is a perfect example. And I definitely was naive. Like, I knew Colin was, getting the sort of pushback that he was. And I was like, okay, maybe a white athlete can, bring something different, or maybe bring more white people to the conversation, or sort of not have it just be focused on like a very stereotypical, kind of violent reaction to Colin. And I, realized very quickly, no, that didn't work. But I think it opened my eyes up right away of like, oh, that's the point. Like, the point is that you're going to be so mad about what I'm doing that we're not even going to get to talk about what I'm doing or what Colin's doing or what happened to Michael Brown or what happened to Trayvon Martin. We're just going to talk about the military or the flag or being disrespectful or whatever. So I think early on I realized the flack and the hatred was me being on the right path. And I think also, like, I have a lot of privilege. I'm obviously white, and I play professional sports, and I got to play for Team USA. Like I got to wear the flag while criticizing America. And I sort of leveraged America against itself because I also have a lightness and a funniness and be able to kind of marry those things.
Yeah, you said the same way that people love Trump for saying wild ass shit. I'm the same way, but for good, and we need more of that.
Yeah, I know. I hate to draw the comparison between me and Trump, but it is there a little bit. It is there a little bit. No. I just hope I'm doing it for good. If I'm ever not, correct me, please.
Well, I think the duty of it. I always speak to the duty. And as an athlete, I believe we all have a duty to make our sport better and to make society better. And it's the whole shut up and dribble campaign. I mean, historically, athletes have always been outspoken in terms of trying to be on the right side of history. You go back to, Juan Carlos and Tommy Smith. Mm-hmm. That was to Hitler, right? Mm-hmm. Like, think about how
that was real life.
Yeah, Jesse Owens. Jesse Owens running in Berlin.
Jesse Owens. Jesse Owens.
Yeah.
1 in 6.
Yeah.
The Ohio State Buckeye.
Yeah, Jesse Owens was Hitler. But speaking to that.
Shameless plug. Ohio is where I'm from.
But,
I love it.
How do you you're the best? You said it. You need to have the confidence to be the best. And I want to touch on that confidence in a minute. But being the best, how do you decide when to take that risk in terms of being outspoken and making sure that, it's two-edged sword because that ego can go either way. Yeah. What do you think it was about you that made you be on the side you took?
I mean, I think it's a little bit of... Actually, before I say that, the first part I think is that I was able to do all of this in the context of the women's national team, which I think was vital. I don't think I can do this on my own at all. So even at times when I was talking, I was really talking on behalf of all of us. And being able to kind of have that be my permission structure, the team be my permission structure, like, talking to all the players, like, I was never I'm not a siloed kind of person. I'm always like, well, what do you think? Like, is this too crazy? Like, should I say this? Is this how we want to message it? Is this, the right way to say it? And really leaning into, the team in that way. And then I think, with like kneeling or something like that, like leaning into the voices that were already speaking about it, the Black voices that are already speaking about it. Like I'm taking my cues from them and from like the messages that you guys know need to be put out there. I don't have the experience of being Black, so like, what am I gonna just give my opinion about what I think? No, I'm gonna listen to other people and sort of use that. So I think the way that I kind of balance it is acting as an amplifier or as a microphone for whatever that may be. And I don't always get it right, but I try to speak from a place of respect and from learning and always understanding like the people I'm speaking on behalf of or for or with is always more important than what I'm speaking to. So trying not to worry too much about like what the flack is going to be. Like the only people I need to, make proud are my teammates or, the people that I'm speaking on behalf. So I think I, try to balance that and always just try to have a sense of humility. Like if I get it wrong, I want to know, I want to get it right. I like, athletes, it's like we're amazing at failing. We fail all the time. It's a requirement. And so you kind of get over, I think athletes have a little bit less embarrassment or hesitation or resistance to getting it wrong and being told. I'm like, just tell me what to do. I tell my therapist all the time, I'm like, don't let me go down this road so I can find it on my own. If you know where I'm going, tell me.
Oh my God.
For $100 an hour.
Yeah, I'm like, tell me, I'll do it right now. I'm like, you're not gonna get any resistance or defensiveness from me. Like, I'm gonna do it. So I think that part of being an athlete too, wanting to be on a team and then sort of the larger, like, I wanna be a part of a community and on a team and make sure that I'm taking care of it in the way that I need to.
It's something you brought up. I think the soccer team did, along with the NBA players, back in like 2012 when we first hit our first lockout. I think that's where it was a change where we went from relying on big corps and lawyers to having the athlete's voice finally heard. And I've seen you guys do it with yourself because I think you filed the lawsuit, all 28 women on the team, the same day that you had the World Cup and everything. And I wanted to say, where you notice that once the athletes have gotten involved, the game and the sport and respect for the athletes has catapulted tremendously. Let's speak on that, how important it is to have that conversation where they try to say you can't have the prisoners run the jailhouse, but it's like, no, that's who you need to take advice from or whatever else occurs. And as you can see in 10 or so plus years, the game has advanced so far, even just the equal pay argument. You guys were able to make tons of jumps by standing your ground.
Yeah. No, it's so true. I mean, first of all, I think, and I always encourage athletes, it's similar to voting and being political. It's like, people will say like, oh, I don't want to be political. I'm like, well, you can choose whether you want to interact with politics or not, but politics will be interacting with you no matter what. So you might as well be involved. Same in sport. Like if you're going to be a professional athlete, like you're going to be in the business. They are going to be making money off of your talent and off of your IP and your likeness. And I think being educated about the business side as you grow into the game is so important. Understanding what a CBA is and how it governs the players, and understanding that, like, of course, without, the owners, sure, like you can't have teams, but like without the players, you don't have anything.
Yeah.
Like we're the most important part of the entire thing. And it doesn't mean that we can't be collaborative and share and, share in the sort of upside of growing sport. But ultimately, the more we're involved, the better the game will be, because we just want to be great too. There's something really simple about what we do. We have this talent, we want to be great. But understanding the business side, you're going to have better relationships with the front office. It shouldn't feel like this like you're in business together. It's like they don't just like own the team.
Yeah.
Like, no, I don't really subscribe to that at all. So the more the players can be educated and they can start to use their collective power to get a more fair working environment, the sort of better it is for everybody. From the front office to the players to the fans to the brands, that everything that kind of swirls around the business of sports.
So it's crazy in your book, One Life, you talked about politics. You're saying you cannot say you're political or not, but it's going to affect you. I read a part where you were saying that back in 2004, you voted Republican because that's what you thought you were until
Did I
you
say that out loud in public?
All right, we'll cut that. We'll cut that.
It's so bad, you guys.
No, I'm sorry, but one thing that occurred.
I know. I hate it.
No,
George Bush, man. We're in Texas.
No, I really
Damn.
I want to talk about this.
I was still living at home. I'm from a really conservative area, and I was like, well, yeah, of course I'm voting for George Bush. Massive mistake.
But I want to talk about this. I don't know what I am, to be honest.
I don't get mad when Republicans win because I see how I go up. But I'm like, damn, this is terrible.
But I see the bad side of the other side too.
Yeah, no, it's crazy right now.
So which way? Does it even matter? That's where my head is at.
Well, this is what she said in a book that was pretty crazy. You started doing research and history on a lot of different topics, which you brought up, the Tulsa situations. You brought up the HRA, the redlining zone and everything, where you said what Popovich said, like, as a white person, I didn't realize I was starting with a 400-year head start. Yeah. And I believe your teammate, forget her name, Jessica McDonald, you were able to have real conversations with her that kind of shaped, where you're at today, correct? Yeah,
definitely. I mean, I think just like obviously, know what our country is founded on. It's founded on slavery and the exploitation of black bodies. That's how America became as prosperous as it was. We had hundreds of years of free labor, and that allowed our country to prosper in a way that other countries weren't. And I think, like, obviously I understand that, but getting more into that part of it, like the redlining or like the lack of, federal housing funds or loans, Tulsa, obviously, like burning down an entire thriving community.
That's happened like 7 times in America.
Yeah, and those are just the ones that we know about. I mean, violence all across the South during that period is unprecedented. It's not even something that we can put a dollar amount or a figure or numbers or amount of bodies that were taken from us. And that, it's not just wealth that's wiped out, but it's like a generation of education and wealth and
Spirit,
spirit
pride,
and pride
foundation,
and
who you are.
trauma passed down, for so many years. So really like understanding the larger context, and then understanding like how that interacts with me and how my privilege plays out, and where are the benefits and where are my blind spots, so I can try to you can't like reverse racism and change the whole thing, but you can be a part of not perpetuating it. And I think that's the biggest part for me, is like just not continuing to perpetuate, not continuing to make the same mistakes and have the same blind spots that you always had.
And when I say, does it matter, I mean in terms of, because at one point, majority of African Americans were Republican, and then it slowly but surely over time went over to Democrat. But when I say does it matter, it's really who's puts us all in a better position to move forward and put us all in a position to, what was Obama's slogan? Like people really felt like they had hope.
Si se puede. Yeah.
Right? Like
yes, we can.
You feel like we can all have a chance, have an opportunity to do better, to take one step above. Well, besides us, like we're fine.
Yeah.
But the majority of us are in positions to where like everything matters. Like I'm looking at the defense budget, and they're increasing the defense budget by 1%. But when you talk about what's in the defense budget, like hundreds of billions, 1% is billions.
Yeah. It's like 750 billion is the defense budget.
And
crazy.
And you put that into our education system, we're building the smartest human beings. Therefore, we'll figure out another way to protect our land without having to need more missiles and other equipment to kill people. This is
no, it's
maybe
crazy.
I'm thinking about it wrong.
No, I think you're thinking about it right. I think we're like, we can't afford health care. $750 billion budget, and we're going to increase it. Like, what? What's happening? We're not safer because of that.
Right.
Or as serious, the election is this year.
Right.
When you're coming down to it, we're joking, and you made great statements on, what the slogan "Make America Great Again" is filled with if it's not carried out through the words. And sometimes you fight and be like, when you look at the Roe versus Wade decision and things like that, it could be dramatic, but you're at risk of, the democracy we have right now if the things go back to the chain, certain type of ways.
Yeah, no, we're in a pretty perilous time. I mean, the sort of like just deterioration of even just norms in that sense in the Republican Party right now, and certainly with sort of the cult that is Trump, is really scary. It's like they didn't even, well, first of all, they didn't think they were going to win last time, so they're like, oh fuck, we're in the White House. Oh my God, what happened? But now they know. They were obviously very haphazard, but like they're gonna still be haphazard because that's sort of how they operate. But yeah, no, I shudder to think another 4 years. I saw some
you
like
start
meme.
talking to your parents about your dad over Trump.
I saw some meme. It was like you can vote for Biden and then in 4 years vote for whoever else you want, or you can vote for Trump and you can never vote again. I was like, oh. Okay.
Damn, Megan, you finna get a shot.
Yeah, I was like, oh, Instagram was a fun place. What happened here? It's terrible.
Well, I want to switch up because I do have a gripe. I shouldn't say a gripe. I was so happy for you, but in my happiness for you, I lost. And so 2015 ESPYs. We had just won our first championship. We were on cloud 9. I'm like, no way we don't get team of the year. But I think the right team won, and you captained that team.
That's right.
Because we were able to get a better team when we got Kevin Durant. But I digress on that side.
15 was special for the Warriors, though.
Yeah, it was. It really was.
It was really special. I used to go for the Kings. They haven't been good in 1,000 years, so I ditched them and went right to the Warriors. And I was like, yeah, this is my team. That was a special year.
That was very special. And we were just on cloud 9. But I think women have a way of humbling men, rightfully so.
Yeah.
We all need to be brought down.
Yeah.
The team of the year for the ESPYs is one of the best teams of all time in all sports. And so I just want to switch it up to, winning cultures. And when did you, because you play with winning being first, and I don't think people understand in sports, that's not always the case. Some of our best athletes some of our best talent, shouldn't say athletes, some of our best talents don't put winning first. And so how have you grown in your approach, or how have you been able to build that foundation of winning and using your talents to, obviously what's going to happen for you will happen because you are the best. We were speaking about this in the back. Mm-hmm. It's like you have to tone yourself down for the better of the team, but understanding, still having the confidence in yourself that, you know, playing the right way with the right fundamentals, the cream of the crop will always rise to the top.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think for me, just winning has always been the point of it. Mm-hmm. That's like, why else are we playing? We're trying to win championships every single year. I think coming from a big family, my sister and I are the youngest. We're twins. We're the youngest of 6. And even just having a twin, like I was never better than her until like midway through high school, maybe even like junior year in high school. So really? I was a little bit of a late bloomer. We're from a really small area, so we didn't have like the best competitive soccer. We lost all the time. We got just like whooped all the time. But we would like lose 5-3, and I was like scoring goals. But so you kind of learn to interact with that in a different way. I was never like, even to this day, it's like I know I was one of the best players on the team for a while, but I was never like the best player far and away. So I always understood my success to be intrinsically tied to everybody else's success. And soccer, like, first of all, the field is so big and there's only so much running that you can do. And it's like, you can't take every shot and score every goal. So there was always so many different ways to be important and to be good. And when you have a championship team, you do all of the things. Like the team collectively does all of the things. You defend well. You are, efficient on offense. You score goals. You have people who do everything. And sometimes, that the roles change or whatever, and some people score more and that's their job. But the whole team buys into whatever needs to be done. We'll do it, because when we win the championship, like that's the best feeling in the world. That's an indescribable feeling, as you know. It is Cloud 9. It's like you're the only team, for us is at the World Cup, that was the biggest. We're the only team in the world going home happy that summer. You're the only team going into summer with a championship. And like, that's just an incredible feeling. I think once you get a little taste of that, nothing else matters. It doesn't matter if you score. It doesn't matter if you're the best player. It doesn't matter if you're MVP, All-Star, whatever. Everybody would take a championship over that, I think. Or at least the best players.
For sure. And this is an interesting question, because I posed it to myself. But what's your favorite part of the runs? Or what's been your favorite moment? Was it in the game? Was it post-game celebration? Was it celebrating with your teammates? Like or was it like you knew you were about to score? What's been your favorite moment that you've had?
Oof, man. I mean, the locker rooms and the bus, I think, are just always the best. The coaches sit up at the front, so if you want them to hear what you say, you talk loud enough. Sometimes you need to get the message there. It's like, oh, sorry, I didn't know you. I wasn't expecting you to be hearing that. My bad. Practice was whack today, but okay. But like the music and even in the games, it's like, we played games in the World Cup where we were like, oh my God, I cannot believe we just won that game. Like we should not have won that game, or we scored amazing goals, or just that like camaraderie. I feel like it gets really easy to kind of like connect the team spirit. You have the song that everybody thinks about. You have the person who runs the aux. You have the joker. You have the serious one. Like you sort of get that vibe. So I think for me, it's all off the field, and then the after parties. Like winning a championship and being able to do whatever you want for like the next week. And like nobody can say anything to you about anything. You're just like, you have this like free reign of like, and you need to blow off steam because of course in a run up to a championship, like you're just so locked in and it's so stressful, and then it's like all the valves are off and like God knows what's gonna happen.
Well, that's something that, and I want to speak this too, that my mind's all over the place now because I got tired of celebrating.
It is tiring.
Because it's like,
it is tiring.
It's the request part. It's like, no, can I just go have fun? Like, I don't want to travel across the world to tell you about how it was. I told you like the last 3 times.
Yeah.
I'm gloating right now.
Yeah. No, it's true. Which championship do you want me to talk about? Oh, okay. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. The back-to-back ones or the other? Oh, the other one? Yeah.
But at the same time, the mental tax of it all. You know, one championship right after we won, I saw my wife and I was like, yeah, like, I just want to apologize. The last 2 weeks have been insane. Because it's almost like you have to turn into a different person. Like you like really shut off the world. So just talk to us about your mental preparation in the most intense moments. And, you know, it's almost like method acting.
Yeah.
Like you should, and it's like, how do you come out of that? And so you talk about celebrating, but, you know, just talk to us about the mental process of, you know, how you approach games and, you know, like what it does to you as a human being.
Yeah, one more thing, just to the last question. It's like, there's only, what's your guys' roster, like 14?
15.
15?
Yeah.
There's only 15 people in the whole world who knows what you went through. Like, and that is so, it's probably like trauma bonding or something, but like that is really special. That's like the best part, that for that 1 year, those 15 people are, you know, the only ones who know. But to this question, like, athletes are crazy like that. Like that is part of what makes us great and part of what makes the best athletes, the ones who always show up, is your ability to handle moments and to handle stress and to handle failure and to handle, you know, the whole moment, because it's a lot, like going into a championship and having to focus like that. I mean, I myself am learning that I'm pretty good at disassociating. So I think that really helped me in terms of like, okay, this is like my task and I know everything that's like going on in the world. I was never a person that shut everything out. I actually felt like that didn't work for me. It made me a little bit more isolated. I kind of like to just like in a real light way kind of know what's going on around me. But I feel like that sort of helped me, you know, focus in on that. But I think the routine of it also, like just first of all, I feel like people never really talk about this with athletes, but you're in an incredibly fit and healthy state mentally, physically, and emotionally, because you're working out every day, you're eating right, like, you know, you're probably sleeping really well, you're taking care of your body. So you're physically primed to be in a really great place to handle emotional stress and to handle, you know, the sort of like mental tax of it. And I think we just learn over the course of all the years. Like you learn how to come back from a bad game and, you know, slough it off. You learn how to take feedback and criticism. And I think it just, you know, once you get to be a pro athlete, it just kind of like whittles in and you start to feel that flow state and you start to feel a connected flow state. Like with your team, you start to feel like, oh, everybody's getting locked in. For you guys, it's probably kind of like back half, you know, like April, May. It's like, now we're narrowing in.
Yep.
We understand what we have to do. And especially if you have a taste of winning already, it's like you have such a leg up on everyone else. So I think I've, you know, seen it, just athletes who on the surface it's like, oh, they don't care or they can't like get it together or they're late. Like they're probably not able to handle the emotional and mental stress. Like it's sort of maybe like a little bit of combination of a mental health, like a lack of tools, and then like the physical preparation. And I've definitely seen that with athletes where it feels like something's off, but you can't really put your finger on it. But if you can't handle the mental side, it doesn't. You could be Kobe Bryant. If you can't handle the mental side, you're dead. It doesn't. Your talent isn't there because everybody's talented.
Yes.
Everybody is elite. Yeah, like 15th guy on the roster is like an amazing basketball player that maybe never even sees the court.
Yep. And Evan, you always rose to the top when your team most needed.
Somewhat.
You took
never won a championship.
No, you never won it, but you took a team that had no business getting to the Western Conference Finals in the game 7.
No, for sure.
No. It's only been so many of those.
There is, but at the same time, when you respect like your peers, Like, you get into sport for competition. Like, one thing that occurs is you accept failing. Like, I hate losing. But if I had to sit there and be like, all right, there goes the alpha, like, I hate the Warriors. But I respect everything they did. You know how hard it is to become a dynasty, take over a whole decade and go crazy? And it's just like, you have to respect what the work they put in. But I would never, not in any sense, I have certain moments, but you got to all hail the victor. That's what really makes the game the right way. Like, I don't ever want to interrupt. Like, I did this for 1 week. Like, dudes did it for, you were playing for 11 and a half months out the year.
You said we had a cheat code, though.
I mean, KD was a cheat code.
Cheat code.
Like Kevin Durant
was crazy.
You had 4 of the top 20 players in the world in their prime. And then the result of it is some beige kid walking around like 1, 2, 3, 4. Like, you know what I mean? And it's like, you know what I mean? And it's cool, but I definitely, like I said, I played in the NBA for 10 years. I was able to do dope things. One thing that I admire, and I look at what you do and be able to meet you, is there's levels. And there's certain levels that even I'm sitting here listening to the conversation of you two were able to do it at the highest. There was a 1%, then there was a 1/10 of a percent. Mm-hmm. And those conversations are beautiful to be had. And as a person outside looking in, it shouldn't be compared. Like you said, there's only 15 people that know how you feel. Like, you should be on cloud 9 100%, and there is a difference. And I'm cool on being outside when it comes to that. You know what I mean?
No, we were talking at, I think it was one of the panels at Sloan, and they were saying, like, what's the clutch gene? And it's basically the people who are able to, regardless of your role. So you said, okay, you're not like the alpha, you're not the top guy, but you can come in and do your job, and no matter the pressure, you're going to stay the same. So the clutch gene is actually staying the same, where most people, the moment gets to them and they drop, their performance drops instead of just staying exactly who they are. And that's a special talent that you have, and maybe your role is different, or you're not like that guy, but when you need to come in and do what you're asked to do and do your role, it's going to be the same in the Western Conference Finals as it's going to be on a Tuesday in November.
And we were able to identify the guys who would fail and who would achieve in those situations.
Yeah, we would talk all the time, and I don't want to use quote unquote, but it's like, all right, I'm not a pussy. Like, when it comes to step up, like, I'm going to show up, I'm going to take a shot, make a shot, and I think we can overcome that. And I think sometimes I would shoot a career 22%, but in clutch, I'll shoot like 50 or 60.
Yeah, you're like, I want it.
Yeah, but then you have a dude that shoots, I watch him go 95 for 100 every day and can't hit shit when the lights are on. And it's like, all right, I'm not him for sure. But,
yeah. That is not going to happen.
Yeah, I might shoot 100 threes, only make 60. If I make 70, I believe I'm on fire the rest of the week. So to have that confidence of like doing things over and over, like, I believe I can show up when the team needs, but that's it.
Yeah, and we're close to Q&A, so please, about 5 minutes we'll start, because I have one question, unless you have one to add as well. Where do you see yourself historically with your talents?
Ooh,
do not give me the PC, I'm just okay.
Oh no, I'm not just okay. Yeah, it's an interesting. Yeah.
Thank you.
I know. I do have to balance my arrogance. It gets involved sometimes, and I'm like, cool it, Megan. This is such an interesting question for me. I think it's an interesting question for you as well, because I feel there's two things. There's off the field, and there's sort of eras of most influential players. And I think in my era, in my prime, I was the most influential player the women's national team has ever had. But that was built on, Mia Hamm was the most influential for her time. Mm-hmm. And, Hope was influential in different ways in her time. And I think Alex Morgan actually is really important, because she sort of led us through this commercially dry ass period. But like, brands wanted her. And so she really put like the whole commercial viability of the team, because nobody wanted to work with anybody else, but they wanted to work with her, and she was scoring a bunch of goals, and she had like the right look at that time, and so she kind of led us through. And then I feel like my era was, something that we've really never seen before. So I think in that sense, like, I was able to bring the team, just like others had before, into, what is now the sort of modern women's national team. So I think I'm one of the most influential players in that way. I think on the field, I think I'm top 10 for sure.
Ooh,
I think that my game is just different than any other player that has played for the national team. I was much more. I wish we had hockey assists in soccer because I would have had like 11,000 of them. That was my game. Get into the spot to unlock something, whether that was a goal or an assist or, switching the ball. So I think in that way, that's why because I'm not faster than anyone. Definitely not more athletic than anyone. I'm not a clinical goal scorer. I'm not just gonna, I'm not like Alex. I wasn't really dominant in any way, but up here I was, and I was able to, I think, be a little ahead of my time, which brought the team to a different kind of aspect. But again, it's also, me and Alex, she's left-footed, I play on the left side, and she makes channel run every time. And our connection for 14 years was unstoppable. So it's if you're going to bring another man over here, that's fine. We're just going to switch it. So it was always about manipulating and getting into the right spot.
Gamesmanship.
So I'm one of the best ever, but I don't think I'm the best. But they couldn't have been the best without me, I guess. I don't know.
No, and that's real. Yeah, that's real.
Yeah.
But when you compare it to Andre Iguodala and when he won, the MVP back in 2015 finals, it's something for, Steph to be the best player, obviously. But like you said, to set up and see things go on, when you play the position like point forward, you see a lot of teammates come back and give you the pat on back and I love playing with such and such, but you made my career or you helped my career. Mm-hmm. And from that kind of gives you confidence. It's that was a star, but I was a producer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You have to have it. You have to have it. And I feel like it's so special watching the Warriors because there's such a shared, we did this. You couldn't, Sean Livingston in the post. Stop it.
Yes.
He's going to turn around and shoot the ball from 50 feet in the air because his arms, he shoots from up here. But it's all those things were so important. I think that's the most special. I feel like the national team does that as well. It's there's all these people out here. Nobody is, doing it by themselves, but to have a team and star players who really appreciate that and let people shine in their roles is really special and unique. And honestly, it gets in the way sometimes. You can see it happening when it's you guys are losing because you can't figure out how to pass the ball to each other. Yeah. That's embarrassing to me. I'd be mortified if that was me. So, but I want to win championships, point blank. So,
well, before you go, obviously, could you, sound off on the advancements you made and allowed to make in women's sports and what we need to do next and where you think it's going to go? Because at the end of the day, sometimes you talk about certain moments, and I don't want to equate it to race battles, but I'm I don't want to have moments where I'm ignorant. Right. And it's coming down to, bringing that same energy that's punching down on a whole, on a whole, genre of people. So I want to know what's next, what we need to do in order to continue support in certain things we don't understand. Whether it's hey, we need to give more. We need to make sure as to why, because we're from a demographic where we need more opportunities, we need more outlets. So I just sound off on that if you could.
Yeah, I think for me, we're in women's sports traditionally, but certainly where we are right now is we just don't need the comparison between men's sports and women's sports. Men's sports is amazing. I love sports, watch all of the things. And there's things that happen in the men's game that don't happen in the women's game and vice versa. And I think it's just really important to always have the, stance or sort of in your mind of I'm going to appreciate this game for what it is and just support it for what it is. And I think that happens a lot in women's basketball because it's they can't dunk. And it's okay, so lowering the rims is going to help. It's just going to be a weirder, lower dunk.
Right.
I
got a 5'6" friend that dunks on little rims and it brightens his heart. He thinks he's a real boy after that.
It's not all of a sudden, I don't know, Jewel Lloyd is going to become, John Morant. It's just appreciate the games for what they are. And then I think really this phase, this next 5 years, but really 10, is going to be a massive investment period for women's sports. And that's really what we've always been missing. It always gets compared to men's sports without the caveat that men's sports has gotten billions of dollars and hundreds of billions of dollars of public funding as well, whether it's stadiums or practice facilities. But we always get judged by our comparison to men's sports, but we have none of the billions of dollars of investment. That is starting to come now. Investing in the leagues. You're an investor in Bay FC, which is amazing. Like,
once you get married, you're part owner of Gotham FC.
Yeah,
I love how you did that.
I know. We might have to hold off on the marriage because we could own 2 teams, you know? But like the investment, I think, is really coming. And that comes in the form of like having really smart people work in the front office, having really good GMs, like having really good ticketing, branding, marketing, like people to sell the business around the team. That comes in, of course, like stadiums and, you know, the sort of player experience in practice facilities and all that. But I think like the sort of like media, business, brands, like landscape in women's sports is changing dramatically. And I think you're gonna see the sports like just grow huge. You're already really seeing it in the first, you know, these last couple of years. But I think the huge investment that's coming, I'm like, get in now and you're going to be a genius, just like Andre. Get in now or get in later and pay twice, you know? Like that's you're going to make money. If you really think about it, it's kind of an obvious question. Like, do you think women's sports in the next 5 years is getting smaller? Right? So it's just like, I think that, you know, brands and people with that level of capital are really understanding this is an amazing product. And also what's special about women's sports, when you talk about women's sports, we're going to talk about, you know, maternal health, and we're going to talk about childcare, and we're going to talk about racism, we're going to talk about homophobia. Like, it's a place where societal progress can really have a voice and live because all the intersections happen in our sport. So we're growing commercially, and that's really important, and we need to have it be as big as possible, but we're also doing it in a way that hopefully can continue to change the world and make things a better place for all of us.
Love that.
Yeah. So buy your season tickets, buy the merch, buy the season tickets, sign up for Hulu Plus and Paramount.
I gotta close out my shopping cart. It's like $1,200 in there, and I just keep forgetting to close. It's all my jerseys, Bay FC jerseys we just dropped. And we got like every player's jersey, so make sure you're gonna pick them up.
Yeah, get in there.
We'd like to thank Megan Rapinoe once again for this wonderful conversation.
Thank you guys.
And the goal of it all is to hopefully you're impacted by our conversation, but not just in knowledge, but in action. And so there are a lot of action items that can come from this. Invest and watch women's sports. Don't be too late. So thank you all. We hope you have a good rest of the weekend.
Thank you.